So we have hello everyone. Welcome to Day 6, Introduction to AWS Services. In today's session, we are going to learn about different AWS Compute Services which is available. So even before starting our session, let me put this disclaimer: all the opinion expressed in this session is solely mine and has nothing to do with my employer. So let's start with AWS Compute Services. So remember when we had very initial session around Cloud 101. So in a Cloud 101, in a definition, we have learned about cloud provider provide you cloud compute services, storage, networking kind of services in order for you to do your work, and it will be on demand and it will be computable, so you can able to compute like how much, and you're able to be access anywhere. So in that series, like AWS Compute Services is help you to run different various compute applications. For instance, if you're looking to have a server to run your databases, if you're looking to have a server to run your Hadoop workload, if you're looking server to run and some kind of application, maybe web application, you're looking some server to host web application, databases or middle tier, anything. So it is being provided by AWS Compute Services. So in Compute Services, we have a lot of options. One is the first one is Elastic Compute Cloud. We call it EC2. And if you started working with AWS, you will always heard this term EC2. It's been, I think, one of the most popular service in Amazon technology stack. After EC2, and then you always heard something called Lambda all the time. We're going to learn more around these services in this session. And apart from these two services, we have a batch, Elastic Beanstalk, serverless application repository, and then AWS Outpost, which is kind of a recently launched service which allow you to have a hybrid kind of a cloud infrastructure where you can go and deploy this AWS Outpost in your own data center and start using AWS services, right? And then we have something called EC2 Image Builder. You can use in order for you to build a lot of EC2 images by using these services, right? So once you so let's start learning what is EC2. So if I talk in a layman language, EC2 is nothing but a virtual machine sit in a cloud, and in our case it's AWS. So it's a service provided by AWS. So what EC2 do is it eliminates your need for upfront hardware. Remember, in our legacy world, we just muting. So so there was a disturbance, so I muted. Nitish. Anyways, so what EC2 do is, in our legacy world, we used to have in order for us to provision any server, for our application or for our databases or any other work. What we used to do is we have to request, upfront, okay, we need a server with this configuration, and then our procurement team used to go various cloud vendors, service providers. Dell is one of them, and used to buy all those kind of servers. Then they bring and then put into their data centers, and thereafter they used to do all kind of networking and configure storage, granting access, etc., which used to take a lot of time. And then they used to give access to your servers. I'm talking here bare metal, right? But if you're doing the virtualization as well by using VMware, again it used to take a lot of time. Because you have to go to your IT, request for the server, then IT has to approve it, and then they have to look, okay, if there is a server where there is a resource availability. If not, then they have to go through all those kind of procurement process to procure procure bare metal servers and then bring it to the data center, etc., etc. If not, then create and then provide you. So in nutshell, this process was very lengthy. What EC2 do is like, okay, you're going into AWS and just launching your virtual machine and start working on it. So and based on your need, you can scale up and scale down, and then it is characteristic of all the cloud services. Based on your need, you are scaling up and scaling down, and you have not to keep running your server 24/7. You can you can delete your server if you are not using it, or maybe you wanted to you can terminate it based on your use case. So the idea is you can save a lot of costs, you can provision any server instantly, etc. And also it provides you a lot of options, which we're going to learn in next couple of slides. So if let's go next. So when we start working on EC2, you are going to heard these terms frequently. The first term is instance. So when we create any EC2 machine, right, we call that machine is instance, and instance is usually predefined, right? Which is we call it Amazon machine images. What is pre-configuration means? It's like it's coming with some kind of a memory. It's coming with some kind of CPU. It's coming with some kind of a storage, and then it's coming with some kind of operating system installed to it. So we call it AMIs. Yeah, exactly. And based on the kind of instance type which we choose, your configuration will change around CPU, memory, storage, networking, and operating system. In order for you to log into your EC2 machine, there is something called key pair, which I will show you when I will start giving you demo. So key pair will allow you to access to your EC2 instance. We have two kind of storage when you work with EC2. One is your ephemeral storage, which kind of get deleted once you are deleting your EC2 instance, usually the root device, right? Which is ephemeral storage, which when you kind of terminate or stop your EC2 instance, it will get deleted. The other one is your permanent storage, which we call it Amazon EBS, and we have learned about Amazon EBS during our session around AWS storage services. So EBS is your elastic block storage. It is best suited for your relational, non-relational, relational, not non-relational, and Hadoop and or any web application kind of use cases, right? So that is EBS. We're going to learn more on EBS in the next couple of slides. So, and apart from EBS, when you create an EBS, it gets created in one region, and then it gets replicated into multiple regions for you to multiple availability zones for you to provide higher availability of your EBS volumes. Then we remember when we were doing our session on AWS security and networking and security, we have learned about something called security group, and I told you security group is attached to your instance or your EC2. So this is today we are going to learn how security group play a role for you to securely access your or kind of stopping access to your EC2 instances, right? When we talked about what is elastic IP addresses is a static IPv4 address. So when we work on EC2, right? If you wanted to have every time when you restart your EC2 instance, your IP address is changed. But if you wanted to have a kind of one IP address attached to your EC2 instance, right? And that we call it elastic IP address. So it will not change with restarting or terminating your EC2 instance, but you have to pay extra for having that elastic IP addresses. And elastic IP addresses is attached to your account, so you can have let's say if you deleted one EC2 instance and then wanted to assign your elastic IP address to another EC2 instance, you can assign it. It will let you do an assignment. We have learned about tag in our Amazon 101 session. So tag will let you to have a kind of differentiate multiple EC2 instance. Like, okay, you have put a tag. Okay, this EC2 instance is prod EC2 instance. This EC2 instance is your dev EC2 instance. This EC2 instance is your QA, etc. So, and and then when you create or EC2 instance, usually you create within your VPC, and we learn about what is VPC. It's your virtual private cloud. So it means it's kind of your isolated region where you can create your own resources. When we talked about EC2 pricing model, we usually talk about on-demand, spot, reserve instance, and dedicated host. So what is on-demand? When I go and just create a EC2 instance, based on my need, it is simply it is on demand. Okay, whenever I need it, I'm just going and creating it. It is as simple as that. It gets built in hours. I think now we have something in second too. So it will let you to have as much as compute resources you need, or as much as instances you need on demand. And thereafter spot. So Amazon let you bid compute power or instances. So Amazon see if based on the demand, right? So if during that morning time when most of the businesses run, there's higher demand on your EC2 instances on Amazon. During the night time when many businesses do not using it, so there are a lot of compute resources available. So what Amazon will do is it will let you to bid. Okay, you are bidding. Okay, instead of paying that on-demand pricing, I wanted to pay this much for my compute need. And if Amazon think okay they have enough resources available, they will provide in a spot instance. This is used for if you have very sophisticated application with thousands of servers in it, and failure of one or two servers will not impact your processing. Maybe you're running 100 200 node of Hadoop cluster, and if one or two nodes fail, it hardly have any impact on your Hadoop cluster. So this is where you can go with the spot instances, right? And it's very very cheap as compared to on demand. And thereafter there is a third type of instance type, which is we call it reserve instance. So reserve instance, it is something like you already knowing I have a workload which I'm planning to run for next 3 years or more than a year. So you can go with a reserve instance, and reserve instance is it like you are reserving the instance or booking the instance in well advance. And when you're booking the instance in well advance, Amazon already knowing you have that much need. So Amazon will provide you, AWS will provide you heavy discount. So usually if you're going with 1 year of reserve instance, you will get around 30 to 35% of discount. And if you're going with the 3 year of reserve instance, you will get up to 70% of discount. So this is how heavily discounted these instances are. And the best use case of if you're running a database, so you do not want it to shut down your database, right? In night and everything. If you wanted to have a database running up 24/7, so everyone able to access it. And when you bring your database into one platform, you wanted to keep it running for multiple years. So I think that's going to be one use case for reserve instance. And then there's a fourth category, we call it dedicated host. So dedicated host is more kind of if you have uh, some kind of government requirement or auditory requirement where you do not want it to have a shared tenancy model, right? Because Amazon EC2 works on shared tenancy, means multiple people are using the compute powers from one single server, which is kind of virtually divided. So if you wanted to have a single dedicated host for yourself, you can do that as well, but it's going to be an expensive. So and it is mostly the government organization or the organization which work closely with the government and have very complex requirement around to keep their data isolated and in a single tenancy model. So they can go to that dedicated host. So as I said, like EC2 comes with multiple flavors. So when we talked about it has a 8 to 10, I don't know how much, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 instance type as of now. First one is your definitely general purpose, right? Here M is donate, like, okay, what kind of instance type it is, and X is your generation. So right now, some of having 5th generation, some of having 3rd generation, some of having 2nd generation, some of having the 1st generation. It means the more of when it was first launched, it was M1, and when Amazon did some kind of improvement into it and to launch next generation, it is M2. It's more like iPhone, right? iPhone 9, iPhone 10, iPhone 11. It is the same way. It's like, okay, it has a multiple generation, but the core availability will remain. The core use case will remain same. So MX is your general purpose, and then you have your CX, which is for which is for your compute optimized. So let's say if you have a very low latency requirement, usually if you're going with a relational database, you can use, or maybe you're going with a with a data warehouse solution. You wanted to use compute optimized. And then you have a graphic intensive. So if you're working with some kind of a game server, or maybe you have some kind of a machine learning requirement, you can go with a graphic intensive GPUs kind of server. Then thereafter, low cost. Then again, this is like, okay, if you have a very small web server which you wanted to host it on AWS, you can use TX, which comes with very, very low cost, and a couple of them are in free tiers too. And then there is a dense storage. So if you have a very high, if you wanted to have stored a lot of data, but your latency requirement is not that critical, you wanted to go. I mean, you can have a dense storage, and again, you can have a dense storage in data warehouse, as well as other, or maybe file server. If you want to create a file server, you can have a dense storage. Other one is your memory optimized, and again, this is where you have this is where you have a requirement where you wanted to have very less latency. Then throughput. So if you have very high throughput requirement, requirement, you want to go with HX, and same goes with high-speed storage. If you wanted to have a very high IOPS, requirement, maybe you want to go with IX kind of instance type, and PX is your general purpose GPU, right? So these are the various instance types. So when you create your EC2 instance, usually remember we talked about you attach in storage to it. So there's the one storage we talked about, root storage, which is temporal in nature, which can be deleted once you're restarting your or when you are kind of stopping or starting or terminating your EC2 instance. The other one is your EBS, which is elastic block storage. which is your permanent storage. So you can attach to your EC2. You can attach to your EC2, but it will remain even when you're stopping your EC2 instance, it will keep the database. I mean, it will keep the data in it, and it will not get deleted. And when next time you are next time you are creating a new machine, you can attach this EBS storage. Usually, databases, big data analytics engines like Hadoop, Spark, etc., run into EBS, and then you have a file system. So these are the use cases for the EBS. So we have a multiple EBS types. One is your SSD based. The other one is your SSD based. So SSD based is your general purpose SSD. We call it GP2. It is mostly used on a I think it used almost all the time, except if you have very specific requirement around higher IOPS, like if you have a database with very where you wanted to have a very low latency and you're running very extensive queries, and you wanted to have a very fast storage, you can go with the provision IOPS. If you have to say like, okay, GP2 is usually less than 10,000 IOPS, or less than equal to 10,000 IOPS, and provision IOPS is mostly greater than 10,000 IOPS. So if you have a requirement where you wanted to have more than 10,000 IOPS, you wanted to go with the provision IOPS, or in all other cases, you wanted to stick with the general purpose. Thereafter, we are having this SSD-based volume, which is like, there's a one throughput, which is throughput optimized ST1, and I think there's a really nice comparison. If you go to the website, you're able to find a very nice comparison between all this kind of storage type, and you see which one is being used where, and based on your need, you can choose the selection. So this is your website getting started, and then this is the volume type, and it will tell you like, okay, when you have to use which volume and what is the price, etc., etc. So with this one, so if you see here, right, IOPS for SSD is very, very less. It's like only 500, and IOPS for SSD is very high. And this is your 64 IOPS, and for IO1 and for a GT2 is mostly around 16,000 IOPS. So the idea is, okay, when you have a less requirement of IOPS, but again, then cost is also has a significant difference in it. Throughput is different. Again, so it is totally based on kind of requirement which you have, and where you wanted to use kind of EBS volume. So this is all about EC2. So what I will do is I will go and will walk you through, give you the demo around EC2, how you can create an EC2 machine, how you can connect to it, and thereafter I will walk you through all other options which we have in EC2, like which we learn about security group and etc. etc. So you are going to your AWS console, you are typing EC2, and before that, let me show you. See, EC2 comes under the compute, right? I told you about there's multiple services, so I think you can go to the compute and select EC2. Okay, if you are here in EC2, so it has a lot of kind of options available for you. So you can see there's the instance type, what all instance types which we have. In here, there's a comparison. Means Amazon has a lot of instance types, so you can just think of, okay. And remember, I told you everything is this is the instance, and then one is your generation, which generation. This is your C, and this is C1 is first generation, and someone is having multiple generations. Some of them having only one generation. So Amazon is keep releasing new type of instances. So it's very hard to keep track of all kind of instance type, and then all kind of instance generation. But don't worry about none of the thing which ever asked in any of the interview. Okay, uh, just tell me like what all instance type which we have in Amazon, or uh, maybe tell me, okay, what all instance generation which we have. Something I don't think anyone asked this kind of question in an interview. So what you can do is when you come to here, the first option is launch instance. You're clicking on launch instance. So here, if you see, right, I told you these are the AMIs, this Amazon machine's image. What does it mean? It's come with a predefined configuration. See, this is like operating system, application servers, application required to launch your instance. You can select AMIs. So here in each AMI, it has multiple options which tell you it has what kind of what all software is being installed, or what all software is being supported, what is the bit type of it. If you select to this one, then it will tell you, okay, which family this one is in, and which family is in, right? We talked about T2, uh, uh, which is our low cost general purpose machine, and then it will tell you what kind of storage it supports, so EBS only. Network performance is low to moderate, etc. Whether it support IPv6, no, and then it will provide you what kind of a CPU and memory it supports. So for T2, which is comes with a with a free tier, we are going to use this one. And let's go to launch configure instance details. Here, so there is a two option. Either you can go and preview and launch, means it's kind of a quick shot, or you can go and configure all other options. So how many instances you wanted to launch? Let's say if I wanted to launch multiple instances, I can launch, provide 4 or 5 or 10, whatever number you want to launch it, you can provide this. Remember, I talked to you about purchasing options. So if you want to bid for spot instance, you can bid for a spot instance. So right now, current pricing is 0.00035 for this for this for this spot instance if you get it. So it's very cheap as compared to on demand. So we are not launching the spot, so I have not selected it, but you can select it. Here you can select which VPC you wanted to launch into it. So here I'm launching a default VPC, which is our public VPC. But usually, if you're planning to use this EC2 instance for your database layer, you wanna launch this one in some kind of private VPC, and then you wanted to select, okay, which subnet. Okay, if you're planning to define some kind of subnet, you can have it in a subnet. And again, if you are planning to, remember I talked about 3-tier architecture, so you can create multiple subnets and have being isolated to create more isolation against your databases. Auto assign IP, you can have it, so you can enable just if it's there, you can enable it, or you can disable it. Capacity reservation, we are not doing any, just we are keeping it open. IAM role, it will be like, okay, what all IAM role, who all going to access your EC2 instance, how they can access to your EC2 instance. This will kind of letting other application using this IAM role to access your EC2 instance. So let's say I have a Redshift cluster which wanted to communicate to your EC2 instance. I'm creating an IAM role and granting access to Redshift services and letting to communicate your EC2 instances. And yep. This is where you can put lot other options as well. So this is your tenancy. We are having tenancy which is your shared. Remember I talked to you about dedicated host. This is where you can select dedicated host as well. And if you're selecting the dedicated host, it will be, it will put this instance into a dedicated host, but it's come with additional charges as I told you. Yep. This is where you have an additional, kind of a kind of option. I'm not aware of most of them, so I'm going next. This is your root. Remember, I talked about a root which get deleted if you are kind of dropping your if you're stopping your if you're stopping your EC2 instance. You can add more storage. It is similar like when we have a Windows where you are having everything of all your operating system installed in C drive, but rest of the data is in their E drive or F drive, this kind of thing, right? So you're having Windows, how you wanted to have it selected. So means right now we are launching Linux type machine. So you can have like how you wanted to have your volume volume displayed in your EC2, and how much space you wanted to have it. Like let's say if I'm having 100 GB, I can create and I can have it, and then I can select based on the need. Remember I talked about various volume types. This is general purpose. This is a provision IO. So you can provision IO. You can have it like up to, I don't know, means it supports very lot of provision IO, maybe up to 80,000. Here you can select. It's come with a 3,000. It's like input and output. So some of them is pre-configured. You cannot able to make the changes here. And then if you wanted to use magnetic standard, throughput IO, etc., etc. But we are going with a default option. And then here you can select option. Okay, if you wanted to have an encryption enable, for this EBS. Right now we have not created any user managed encryption. So we are just kind of, if you want, you can just select the default encryption. So it will have a default encryption enabled. It provides an option if you wanted to have your volume being deleted on termination. By default, yes, but you can uncheck this option and it will not delete your root volume even after your EC2 restart or terminated. Or you can select this option and have been everything being deleted. So right now I'm just selecting this option and kind of I will let it delete once I'm stopping this EC2 instance, because I do not want to pay for my EBS volume. I talked about tag. So this is our EC2 demo. So maybe EC2 demo or whatever. So this maybe will go in your test, because we are doing the demo. This is what it is. Security group. So remember we talked about how you can isolate or who's going to access to your EC2 instance by defining the security group. So you have to create a security group. Right now, by default, it's come with a SSH. It means you're able to SSH to your security group. Let's see what all options which we have available. So you can have a multiple options available. Let's say if I'm enabling this one, it is there. If I'm enabling HTTP, it is there. And this is your letting everyone access to your resources. Or what you can do is you can customize it my IP. So this way only the person with the only I'm able to access to this instance only from my laptop, not always around. And I talked to you about how you can define your CIDR here for you to restrict access, right? So let's review it. And previous, yeah, you can, if you wanted to give something maybe a better name, EC2 demo. SG. So yep. uh, and review and launch. So see here I'm getting kind of a security warnings. You know, it is also showing like it's open to world. So let me change this from my IP, and this way I'm not opening this my instance to everyone. Your tier country is not eligible for free tier usage. Why not configure for free tier usage? Maybe I have added a lot of to launch it in check it in as well. Maybe the some of those configurations I have added that EBS volume, right? 100 GB EBS volume. So that volume is not comes under the free tier. So that's the reason I'm getting this warning. But for now, if you're trying on your home, so just do not select that storage thing. So this way you will be not being charged. So just remove this, the new EBS volume, and then you will be all set. For now, I'm just, as I've been doing a demo, I'm just kind of, selecting it. This way I will be able to show you. But for you, it is not needed. Go ahead and enter the, launch. So this is a new thing is like, okay, remember I talked about how you can access your EC2 instance. For accessing your EC2 instance, you have to create a key pair and have your key pairs come with the private and public keys. So ensure you are not sharing your private key with anyone. EC2 demo. Key pair. Okay. So I'm just downloading this key pair. It's been downloaded, and just keep it in some safe place, because in order for you to retrieve the password or anything, you need a key pair, or in order for you to connect to your EC2 instance. So let's launch this instance. Okay. Here you can go and look for what is happening here. So it will take some time to get launched. So we'll wait, and I will pause and let you guys ask any question if you have. Okay. So if you see here, the status changed from pending to running, and still initializing. So we'll wait for it to get initialized. And if you see here, right, we have a public IP assigned to it, and then we have a public DNS assigned to it. We do not have any elastic IP assigned to it because we have not defined any elastic IP. But you can define elastic IPs here. You can create an attached elastic IP. And later, let's say if you have a requirement change around your security group, you can go and look change this, update your security group. You're updating your security group inbound policies. You're adding and you're editing it and adding or deleting all those current access to it. We are not doing this thing, but this is just in case if you're wondering how you can do that. Okay. So it's still initializing. So okay. So this is your instance ID. This is your. So how you can connect, right? So I will wait for it to initialize before I will show you like how you can connect to this EC2 instance. And you can able to see your security group here, elastic IP here, key pair, right? So we have recently created this key pair, EC2 demo key pair. You're able to see this EC2 demo key pair here. Volumes. This is your EBS volumes, like what all volumes you are having in your account. And remember, it's nice. It is only like, okay, as I told you, right, it's a permanent storage. So this will not get deleted. You have to manually come and delete if you're not planning to use it. Okay, these are multiple AMIs. If you wanted to create your AMI's image, you can create it here as well. Okay, this is your capacity reservation. Remember, I talked about if you wanted to reserve some kind of capacity around it. This is something really new. This is your dedicated host. If you have any dedicated host, it will show you here. This is your reserve instance. So if you're planning to purchase any reserve instance, you can go and purchase it. So if I see such, okay, remember 12 month. This is your effective rate upfront. This one. So it will show you like, okay, how much you're going to pay, and if you have like 36 months, this is your effective rate. And so you have a lot of saving. And let's say if I have a big instance type, not T2 micro, maybe if I go with M5 large, you will see, right, there's a lot of difference in 36 months. You are only having 1.53, whereas if you're going with a 12 month, you're having 2.59. And I think so. What is I don't remember what is the current on-demand pricing for it, but again, it will provide you almost like 50 to 70% saving if or if 30 to 40% saving with a 12 month, and almost like 60 to 70% saving with a 3 year reserve instance on as comparison to your on-demand pricing. So this is what it is. Then this is your spot request. If you wanted to have like multiple spot instance assigned to you, you can request for a spot instance. There's a multiple workloads. You can define what kind of workload for what kind of workload you are looking for spot instance. You can define and provide a time window when you wanted to have it, etc., etc. So this is your okay. So it is up and running now. So if you go here and maybe I can just change it EC2 demo. I just provided its name, so this way it will be easy. So if I go here and click on connect, right, it's providing me how I can connect. So there is a multiple option. One is if I wanted to connect from my from my laptop, which I'm going to in our case, you can do that, or else you can have it like but before doing that, you have to go and run this command. So I have downloaded this file in my download folder. So what I will do here is, let me open in terminal. CD downloads, and I will run this command, which is also this is done. What next, right? This is my instance type. This is my remember I showed you this public DNS. So this is my public DNS. So you need to have a public DNS. You need a public DNS in order to SSH. So what I'm doing is I just copied the DNS name, and now I'm running this SSH command, right? So this is the SSH, and this will let me to SSH into my EC2 instance. So by default, EC2 hyphen user is your by default username to your EC2 instance. So yes, and let's see why I'm not able to. It looks like there's some issue with IP address which I put there. Maybe I'm using the VPN, so that's the reason. Let me quickly check my IP address. Or it could have connected very easily. Okay. Okay. So this is my IP address. Let me see what IP address I have put in here. Security code 311.153. Yeah, I put the right IP address. So why it's not? Okay. Let me quickly see if I'm able to connect with here. So this is another way to for you to connecting to your EC2 instance through browser. You can connect by using browser too. Hmm. Connection closed down to the root. Let me quickly pin something here and see if that fixes my issue. Oh, sorry, not in this one, in SSH because I'm doing that SSH, right? So remove here, try with SSH, and delete this one. Okay. Hmm. Okay, I'm able to connect with the session manager, but why not with the EC SSH? Anyways, so I will troubleshoot this one later. Usually it's around, maybe around my security group. It's not letting me to connect, so I have to investigate. But the idea is you should able to connect once you have a proper configuration in there, right? And as I showed you, like I'm able to connect with my I'm able to connect with by using session manager. Okay. Here you can once you are in your machine, maybe you wanted to process like okay, you wanted to run an update. For update, I have to be in sudo. So sudo, and once I'm sudo, I can go and run the update. Yum update -y. This is like I'm saying yes, all the update. So so idea is like okay, now it's my own machine, so I can do anything on this machine. It will let me do everything on this machine. So that is what your EC2 instance is all about. If I have to, let's say, if I have to, install some kind of a program, maybe Python or something, I can install it. Or maybe if I wanted to install Apache server, if I wanted to create some kind of a web server, I can do as well. So it is like okay, you're having your own machine now. You can install anything. You can install if you wanted to, you can install Oracle, you can install MySQL, you can install PostgreSQL or anything as such, right? Yep. So this is all about EC2. Let's move back to um, our presentation, right? So the next thing which we have talked about, which we're going to learn today is Lambda. So again, remember in EC2 you have a lot of control, but it is also come with like, okay, you have to create an EC2 instance, you have to manage all those updates, everything. You have to ensure, okay, you are creating a backup. You're ensuring, okay, you're deleting it if you're not using it, or maybe you're having some kind of a maintenance policy around it. So though it provides you a lot of flexibility, but again, it comes with a lot of management. So what AWS Lambda will do is, and it will let you run your code. It's kind of a serverless service which will let you run your code, and you only pay for the compute time. It is like, okay, whatever time you're running your code, you're just you're paying for it. And in this case, you have not to worry about spinning up that cluster, spinning up that machine, and installing all kind of software in it, and then going and running, creating all kind of dependencies, going and running your code. So if I have a Python code, and I wish I wanted to run, and in a traditional way, you can go and create and have a connect to your server and go there and run your script. In a Lambda, you have not to worry about it. It's just like providing your code into console, and it will run for you. It means it will provision all those resources which is required for you to run that code. Okay. So yeah, so Lambda is kind of very easy. I think this is one of the service uh, you should want to learn. When if you're planning to work on AWS, because it is very highly desirable service for any developer to know, and it is very high in demand. So whenever you see any job description around AWS, right, whether it's a data engineer, data scientist, or any other you know or in any other field, they usually look for person who's having knowledge to write code in AWS Lambda. So this is fun. So let me quickly show you how AWS Lambda look like. So let me go and bring my console. Sorry, let me exit and delete this one because I'm not going to use. So I'm just terminating this one. Okay. So if remember, I selected all the EBS volume get deleted. So it will delete the EBS volume which was attached to this EC2 instance. Okay, let's go to the Lambda. So within the compute, we have this Lambda. So I have already created multiple Lambda, but for a demo purpose, what I'm doing is, I'm going in and creating a new Lambda. So I'm providing my maybe demo Lambda. So if you see here in a launch screen, right? I think you can write from scratch. It means it will provide you a space where you can write your code from scratch, and it comes with multiple flavors, right? It's a Node.js coming as by default, but it will let you run in .NET. It will let you run in Java 8. It will let you run in Python 3.7, Python 3.6, 2.7, Ruby 2.5. Yep. So or you can create your own bootstrap. So the idea is like it provide a lot of flexibility around programming language you prefer. So I'm going with the Python 3.7, and this is where you can have an option. Okay, if you already have an existing IAM role, you can select it, or you can create an IAM role for Lambda to talk with the services. I'm just going ahead and creating. So when you create the functions, right, what it do is it will provide you. Okay, I will, before even going there, let me tell you something more here. So I'm going to Lambda. going and creating functions. So it has the three things. One is you're creating from scratch. Other one is using a blueprint. So when you select use a blueprint, it means someone has already been created. Couple of examples, which may or may not be kind of similar to your use case. But let's say if I have to select something around maybe Dynamo. So it will tell me, okay, how I can, there's a couple of examples which is already available. You can select to process your Dynamo stream, and we're going to learn when we will talk about our database in our database section what is Dynamo stream. But just for your example is like you can select any services and look if there's an example available for it. Like S3 get the object Python. So if if you wanted to know all those object name etc. you can select and it will let you know. This is the other one is serverless app repository. So let's say you are a your service provider, or maybe you have a company which and you have built some kind of a special serverless. Sorry, if you have built some kind of services and you have deployed in a Lambda, you can publish that service in this AWS serverless repository. It's a marketplace, so where you can where you can publish your publish your solution and someone able to use it. So and it will also tell you like what all things are being used, and so it will has all the solution in it. For us, it's like we are going to very simple one. So what I'm doing is let me quickly show you. There is a for our demo purposes, I have built something around. So okay. So I have built something to insert data into DynamoDB. Yep. Yep. This is what I have built for this our demos session. So it's very easy. What I'm doing in this one is reading a file, reading the data from a file which sits in S3 and putting the data into DynamoDB table, and then I'm generating a notification and telling, okay, I have received data. So if you see here, what I did is I just went ahead and created that function. But before that, let me show you the one which we have recently created. I think this is the one which we have created, demo Lambda. So when you come to this the screen, right? It will provide you ID to write your code, right? And you can select like okay how you wanted to run your code, what programming languages. Also, it will let you to add a lot of triggers. So the trigger is like okay for which action you wanted to perform this thing. Maybe if what will be your action? Like maybe in our case, what the one which I have built is if I'm putting any file into S3, I wanted to have this Lambda fire and perform its operation. So let's say this is my S3 bucket. I can select okay I have selected this I have built this COVID-19 prescription. So let's say I have a pharmacy, and in a pharmacy I'm describing something to COVID-19 patient, right? And I wanted to send a notification to that maybe to my pharmacy or some doctor. Okay, we have prescribed this thing, so I wanted to keep a record of it, or I may able to connect to that person. So I have added this one here, and okay, I have already trigger configure in my previous Lambda, so I'm not able to add it here. But again, you can add any other bucket. Let me quickly add any other bucket to showcase you. Let's say if I am adding this one. So you can add whenever I put any file into this bucket, whatever code I will write here, it will get triggered and perform its operation. So let's see how you can write that particular Lambda. I'm not teaching here, okay, how to write Lambda. It's just I'm giving an example how you can easily write that kind of operation. So here I'm just importing, because I'm using JSON file, importing Portal3, which is kind of your Python library for AWS, and I'm just reading that file name, S3 and then DynamoDB into just to kind of defining that variable, etc. And then I'm reading that file name from here, okay. And here I'm writing into my Dynamo table, and this is where I'm generating a notification. Notification is like, okay, I'm sending into my mobile. So if I so let me show you an example. What I will do is I will go ahead. I have a S3. And Lambda is a game changer, right? It means you have not to worry about anything else. Just you have to look for a place where you just write your code. That's it. So let's say I have put this file here, and I have a multiple files. Let me quickly look into that file. Okay. So here, this is my file, COVID-19 description 32 JSON. Maybe I can change it, rename it. Okay, 33, and let me quickly show you what all things are there in that file. So this is a detail of this is a detail which comes into this file. Maybe I can change this one and have John Adams instead of John Adams, John XYZ, and I will keeping everything as same. I will change this number because I have a new patient. I have changed this one, patient with TBC. So, and here I'm from Boston, not from LA. So I have changed this one as well. So I have made this changes. So I have a guy who's this name. This is how the field look like. So what I did is I went ahead and put this file into S3, and we'll see what all things going to happen there afterwards. Okay. So as soon as I will upload this file, right? What will happen is there will be change in you're not able to see my mobile, but I just received one message. But let me go and show you like DynamoDB. If there's a change being happened in the DynamoDB. So I have created this prescription table, and let me show you. So I have just added this one, right, Navneet and PBC. Let's say in next iteration, I'm removing this location and see how things work here. So I have removed location from my file, as I don't know the location for this patient, so I have removed that location. And I have new patient number, which is there. Awesome. And let me put this file into so every time when I'm placing a file and there's a record being updated in DynamoDB, I'm getting notification on my mobile phone, because I have generated that I have created SMS notification, which is simple notification service, to send me a notification on my file. So see, this is very flexible schema. DynamoDB is a NoSQL, so it's a key base. So I have not to every time I have not to define what all things I need. I can just remove it. So here in this one, I'm not having, location. Here I'm having a location. We're going to learn more on DynamoDB in our database section. So this is all about. Let me quickly show you the SNS, how I can figure this SNS to send me a notification. So I have created an SNS topic, and I have attached to my phone number, and it will sending a notification. So you can create an SNS to send a notification on your phone. You can create an SNS to send notification on your email address, etc. Let me go back to the presentation. Yep. So and yeah. So what I will do, I will take a pause and let you guys ask any question if you have. If not, then we can conclude our session here. Okay, it looks like there's no question. So thank you everyone. Thanks for joining and stopping the session. And stop.